Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my show, episode number 8, I think. We're going to be talking about the Dr. Fauci thing, which is actually crazy. And we also are going to talk about the economy slowing in the Q2. Two things that are really important and probably be a longer show today. Let me know in the comments if you like this longer show because it's been like around 10 minutes. I'm probably going to make it, this one I had to because there's a lot of good things to talk about. The first thing, I obviously Fauci is my plan to talk about today, but then also you have the economy slowing, which was recommended from a friend. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, I have two articles here, so let me just do this, right, so we can look at these articles together. So, let's start with the Fauci situation. We're going from Reuters, of course. So, what happened here was Ron Paul, was pressuring Dr. Fauci because of Dr. Fauci, like his private diary, which said that the COVID lockdown and the COVID virus actually could have been in a factory. And the thing is, this is criminal. This is criminal. And the thing is, the reason why this is criminal is because they're lying and they said this was a conspiracy theory and like this had no evidence to back it up. But also, another thing to keep in mind is that they were pretty much going after everyone that said this. Anyone that said that this was a conspiracy, and everyone that said that this was in a factory and was not what they told us, they all got banned. They all got silenced. The DOJ went after them, and so Fauci in his diary said that, well, it could have. There's a possibility it could have been a factory, and they withheld that from the American people, and they also attacked the American people that said that. So they came after him, and he pleaded in front of Congress, and I think he used the Fifth Amendment, like the Fifth Amendment, 111 times. We're gonna see in this article, but so Paul said that Fauci was not allowed to plead the Fifth Amendment right to refrain from answering senators' questions that are pardoning from the former president Joe Biden will not to protect him. So yeah, that is true. That the Fifth Amendment, if you get a pardon, you still have to like plead. You can't use the Fifth Amendment. And there was gonna be consequences for that. Here's the thing, right? All this stuff. So this is huge, right? Because here's the thing about Dr. Fauci. I mean, no one likes this guy. Nobody likes this guy. Right? Like, he's a horrible person, right? So let's get back to pretty much nothing else here. You have the Supreme Court case that went after him, pretty much saying that you can't use the Fifth Amendment when you have a pardon from the president. And so, yeah, just want to show you guys this because this is really important. But yeah, let's get. So yeah, it is important that this happened. It's actually really crazy that this might actually be a conspiracy theory. This might actually be real, and that he lied to us and the federal government lied to us about COVID for, 5 years, 6 years, and 1 million people died, and they locked down schools for a year. I mean, I live in New Jersey, so the greatest example was when I was in 5th grade when this happened, and they locked down the schools for 2 years. The second year, you had to wear masks to go to school, even though there was no evidence that this was towards kids and this could have been harmful to kids. There's no evidence of that. None. Not one piece of evidence that this was dangerous to young kids. The majority of people that died were older people, right? So that's the thing. I think like it was like the vast majority. And everyone got COVID. Everyone in my age group, I know, got COVID in some way. But the thing is that they didn't die. It just, to them, it was like a flu. Now, the thing with the COVID thing is that it was really harmful to people with, weaker immune systems, right? And when you're, like, before the age of 30, you have a pretty strong immune system, right? Because you're younger. But when you're 80, 70, 80, 90, getting in those older years, and you're starting to receive Social Security benefits, that's the problem. And that's when they start attacking them. So they closed down the schools even with no evidence that this was harmful to kids. This was harmful to some people like that. And so this is a big thing because, well, everyone believed that Dr. Fauci was telling the truth, right? Everyone believed that this was started in China, right? And this wasn't in a factory. Because if this wasn't a factory, I mean, this changes everything, right? And another big thing is that they came after people on social media, and they came after people in real life that were saying that this was made in a factory. So this is a huge thing. Now, yeah, Fauci is a wussy. Fauci's a horrible person. Fauci, he deserves to go to jail, right, for everything he did. If anything, because he can't go to jail because of the presidential pardon, he should at least get socially ostracized from society, right? So you gotta get something here, but that's the problem. There's no punishment he can get because it's a presidential pardon, and you can't unpardon somebody, right? You can't just unpardon. It's just not how it works. So, yeah, this is crazy, I have to say. I have to say this is insane, right? Because I just, the guy, everyone knew this guy, pardon my language, was full of shit, right? Everyone knew this guy was full of shit. And this gets me to my second underlying point where I was watching Nick's show today at the gym, and, as I usually do, Nick is he's my, America First, right? Try to help the movement out here and doing what I could do to, get the movement more, just push up the movement to people and try to convince people that the movement is good. Besides the point, I 100% agree with him. Like, Trump can't do anything here. Trump wanted accountability. He said that we're going to, release the Epstein files. We're going to put people in jail, right? Because the thing is, Biden came after everybody. He started putting everyone in jail. He put Nick on a no-fly list. He put a lot of guys on a no-fly list. So Republicans were like, well, we need to just get back here. We need to do the same thing back to them because they're going to, once they win in 2028, which I think they are, unless we get a really good candidate, and even then, I think Trump hurt the paleoconservative name a lot. I think Trump hurt the paleoconservative name just utterworldly because his failure of putting the tariffs on, the failure of him, the way he did ICE was horrible, right? I mean, his ICE was horrible. Also, you have to think about, his foreign policy was awful. It was not paleoconservative. So he ran on this paleoconservative Pat Buchanan thing, and it didn't work out. He did horrible. Right? And you're going to see in the second part when I talk about the economy, he did horrible. And so Democrats are probably going to win in 2028. And what do you think they're going to do? They're going to come after literally everybody. Again, that they're going to weaponize the DOJ. They're going to open the border. They're going to allow mass migration to happen again. The great replacement is going to keep happening. And there's nothing we can do about it. And Trump is going to be merely and solely because how bad Trump did. If Trump did a good job, if Trump did what he promised, release the Epstein files, more transparency on JFK, even more transparency. I know there's more to MLK than there is. But he did a good job with that. I'll have to give him that. Right? But just say MLK, Epstein files, right? Came after Antifa, came after these left-wing radical groups that were causing violence, deported, mass deportations, tariffs, actually, what's the right way of saying this? What's the right way of saying this? Putting tariffs on foreign goods and actually using the tariffs correctly? I mean, this could have been a real golden age, right? Not going to war with Iran. He could have saved the name of the Republican Party and tried to help us and tried to even push the Republican Party farther right. And here's the thing. We always knew that Trump wasn't perfect. Trump had too relenting support for Israel, right? And we all knew this stuff, right? But here's the problem. We didn't think he'd be this bad. And so he completely ruined the Republican Party. So Democrats are going to win in 2028. And anybody that we put in jail, think about this. We haven't put anybody in jail. We haven't came after anybody, right? They came after the J6ers like crazy. They came after literally every single one of them. And we're going to put nobody in jail. I just think no one's going to jail. we came after two low-level guys, right? We're not coming after like, these media organizations. We're not coming after anything. So, like, what is this? Just kind of like shows that like, hey, here's what we got. We're gonna give you this, right? Even when no one asked for it. And this can't. This is just to like, this is just the core of the Republican Party, and the Trump administration. He'll not do mass deportations, but he'll like post edits of ICE, and he'll post the false thing of 2 million self-deportations. He'll do that. He'll release the Epstein files, only three, like, what was it, like, barely anything of it, and heavy redactions. He'll have some transparency of the JFK things, but not all of it. He will come after low-level guys like this with Dr. Fauci, who you can't put in jail, but he won't go after any of the bigger guys. He won't go after Hassan Piker for saying what he said about, America, that America deserved 9/11. He won't come after Antifa. He won't come after any of these bigger left-wing organizations. Because here's the thing. Think about this. Andrew Tate got arrested under Trump. Charlie Kirk got shot under Trump. The right wing is still like getting canceled. I mean, cancel culture is not as big as it was, but people are still getting canceled, right? And Republicans and right wingers are still on the run from Antifa and these left wing organizations. So, what did Trump really do? What did Trump really do? He was supposed to put an end to this. He hasn't done this. And this has just shown how much the failure of the Republican Party is. It just shows it. Right? And Democrats, the one thing I respect, I actually don't respect them for this, but they started this. I was about to say I respect them for this. No, I don't respect the left wing at all. I have no respect for the left wing. But I guess one thing they do is that they come after people. They come after Republicans. They've always done it. Obama with the IRS, right? The DOJ coming after a lot of right-wing influencers, weaponizing the DOJ to silence people. They silenced Charlie for a month after questioning the Hunter Biden laptop, right? Banned him off for a month. If you look at, Nick, no-fly list, banned from banking, right? Banned from, I think, almost all payment processing, right? No-fly list. Like, the guy was banned from everything. He was, like, pretty much socially ostracized from society. So they do that to us, but we don't do it back. We can't even get Don Lemon in jail. Don Lemon is still... He violated a law, the FACE Act, right? Violated that law, and he's still allowed to roam free perfectly fine. And there's something in my eye. You can't get it out. Right? But he's still roaming free after harassing a pastor, or I don't know if it was a Catholic church. I think it was a Methodist church. But he harassed Christians, right, for allegedly supporting ICE. Allegedly. There's no evidence that they were supporting ICE, right? And he won't come after any of the people that are impeding on ICE investigations. He won't do that. So Trump is a complete failure. It's obvious. And now, I mean, this one's just shitting on Trump. It's completely. I'm sorry, there's something in my eye, dude. I don't know what the hell is in my eye. Okay, so now let's go to our second part. The second thing I want to talk about today is the economy. And I know, not the funnest thing, but it's important. All right. So now let's talk about the economy. So one thing Trump, I have to say, he did pretty good in was the GDP growth in the first year. Q2 was 3.8%. Q3 was 4.3%. And then Q4 would have been 3.3% if it wasn't for the government shutdown. The problem with this is, now this is, obviously, you hear me say, I mean, GDP is a little overrated as a statistic, right? It doesn't really show how the American people benefit, but, I mean, this is awful. My thing is as long as it's above 2%, I'm fine with it, right? Because 2% for a GDP as big as the United States is healthy growth. But anything below that is below the Fed target. right? So you can see Q4, and then Q1 he really didn't do anything, barely above 2%. So this is from Axios. You can see, obviously, whatever. The U.S. economy grew at a 1.5 annualized rate in the second quarter. The government said Thursday, capturing a 3-month stretch shaped by the Middle East conflict and a surge in energy prices, right? So the reason why is because consumer spending and business investment fueled by AI spending remained the standout. Like, dude, this is like, it's just because of AI is the reason why the GDP was up today in this quarter. I mean, everything else was taking a plummet, right? And if we look at this by the numbers, 1.5 is slightly slower than the 1.8 the economists anticipated. So it was lower than the economists, what they said. So you have that, and also I definitely say that consumer spending still did take a hit, right? Just because the prices are so high, and and AI spending is what carried the GDP. So imagine if we didn't have that. Oh my gosh, it would have been way lower, probably been around 1.3, 1.2, which is horrendous. So it follows a 2.1 annual growth in Q1 and a 0.5 in the last 3 months. So awful again. So, anyways, now another thing we have is the GDP growth is still getting outweighed by inflation. Still, that's still a problem. Still a problem we're having here. Like, that's a huge problem that we're having here right now, is that the GDP is always getting outweighed by inflation. That means we have stagflation, right? The prices are growing faster than GDP, right? That's a problem. That's a huge problem, because now the inflation in June was 3.2%. It'll probably be higher in this month just because of the Iran war, right, getting restarted. I can't even say, dude. Trump's a failure. He had the economy. We saw the economy started doing better, and that's why I said the GDP was growing, wages were still going up. We had the unemployment was still right. You have one good month, one bad month. It was stable though. It's fine. But if we look at the GDP inflation, right? Inflation was hitting like 2.3 hit in February. I think it was February or January. It was 1 or 2, right? So we had around 2.3% inflation, right? But if you also look at what was it? Well, if you also look at like the GDP growth, the GDP was pretty good. If we take away the government shutdown, it would have been much better. And so that's the problem, right? That's the problem. It's just the economy's not gonna get better. The economy's gonna keep taking a crap as long as the Iran war keeps happening, which we'll not be getting out of. If you watched yesterday's show, I said that we're not gonna get out of this war probably until I can't even imagine. We're probably not gonna get out of this war probably until way after midterms. I don't even see this ending on midterms because you literally can't. The Iranians don't care about midterms. The Iranians don't. The Iranians want the Strait of Hormuz, and unless we surrender the Strait of Hormuz or give massive sanction reliefs or give money to them, they're not going to do it. And so we're going to have that, high inflation, low GDP, and our economy's going to tank. It's going to tank. So, yeah, this is just not looking good for the Americans. Not looking good for Trump. I just can't defend him on this. This is awful. So, yeah. That's when we'll wrap it up here, around 20 minutes. And so thank you for watching, everybody. Let me know if you like this style. Let me know if you're watching. Let me know if you like this style of 2 stories a day. I'll do it. This was a good news day. But yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. God bless every single one of you. Today, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, TAF Show. If you want to check it out. God bless.